Hello, and welcome back to our new Monster Hearts stream, The School for Evil and Good. I'm Chris Bernal, also known as Crifu online on Twitter and Instagram and whatnot. And I am the MC for this stream based on the book series by Soman Chainani called The School for Good and Evil. With me are four fabulous players who will now introduce themselves, starting to the left with Hopper.
Oh, it's me again. Consistency. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Hopper. I'm playing Trip, who is an angsty puppy boy, aka Starburst. I'm a full-time arborist, part-time freelance DM, and I guess I'm a streamer now. That's a thing. And I can be found on social media at Fail Deadly, and that's with a 3 instead of an E, as always, because I'm the worst.
Maddie.
I am Maddie. I am a freelance artist. You can find me online as Cellartator on most social medias. Instagram is where I'm most active. I am playing Shinnok, who is our teenager, never from the Fae, who's got a bit of a dark past and looming curse hanging over her.
Awesome, and then on to Marcy.
Hey, I'm Marcy, and I'm playing Lilu Beaumont, the daughter of Belle and the Beast, our socially awkward, nerdy girl hiding a couple of things of her own that might come to light soon. And you can also find me around online, various places under the name Experimental Madness.
Great.
And I am David Brunel Brutman. I will be playing Milo Greenbonnet, a soldier cadet in the King's Army who has found himself in this fairy tale school and remains somewhat uptight. You can find me and all the stuff that I do. I'm an illustrator, graphic designer, and game designer, and I think game design is probably the most relevant to people who are watching this, so check out my stuff at dbb-8.itch.io.
And I've included links to some of our Twitter accounts and a link to the School for Good and Evil website, so you can check out this awesome series that has inspired us. I know when we started a week ago, I was the only person who had read the books, but I think a few of us have now started in on the first book and are hopefully enjoying it. They're very fun reads. The world of the Endless Woods, to me, is quite exciting and also very familiar. I think Chainani does a great job of, it's like pop culture fairy tales. And so I feel like it's been really easy for us to come up with our own tales and our own setting and just plug it in. So props to Soman. Thank you for creating this series for us to play in. Last week, our 4 students, 2 nevers and 2 evers, students for the Schools for Evil and Good, arrived at said school. They were taken or escorted from their homes and brought. And since that first day, it has been a month of classes and training, getting to know their fellow students. And now, as we return to the Endless Woods, we can see 2 castles gleaming in the midday sun. One of them, at least, is gleaming brightly, shining. There's almost just a haze of a rainbow somewhere in the distance behind it. A white stone with blue minarets and blue and silver pennants that are kind of like waving their flags. And then across the lake and the bridge that connects the 2 schools, the other one shining but black and metallic, in the shade of the strange dark storm clouds that kind of almost always gather around this castle's towers. Bats are probably like flying around the towers there, and then there's a crack of lightning, even though a crack of thunder, even though there's no lightning to be seen. But the cameras zoom past the two schools and down towards the endless woods behind, where we can see a small clearing with two tunnels that connect the schools to this area, and students in various shades of black and gray and blue and pink, making their way to the shared lunch area. Before we jump in, I'd like to say hi to everyone. Johnny, hi, thanks for joining us. Johnny will be joining us on Friday at the premiere of the ManaPot Happy Hour. I see Mark Likes Music and Great Zamino, fellow captains of the channel. Thank you for joining us. And G. Michael Austin, thank you so much for coming back this week. We super enjoyed having you last week, and we hope you enjoy the trial today. I think I got everyone, but let's take a quick look. Yeah, Hall W, and another TV viewer. They might be bots. Sound off if you're not a bot.
How do I get to be a VIP?
It always
That's
works.
very fancy.
You should be. I will give you
Yeah.
the status.
I feel very important.
I think I just didn't have your screen name.
That's fair.
But
I like being an enigma.
so the cameras zoom in. Are y'all eating lunch together? Is that a thing? I would say that most evers and nevers aren't, but there are a few corners of the clearing, and specifically corners, areas on the sides out of view, where you could see maybe one or two ever and nevers kind of commingling. Where are y'all?
I think that Shinnok, since their first class, their first, surviving fairy tales class, has been pretty doggedly following Milo and Lilu around, at least during lunchtime. She'll just come over and sit down and eat her food and talk to them, even if they don't respond to her. She just is like, nope, this is how it's gonna be. We're gonna be friends.
I think Lilu's surprised to see you doing this, around her, because, she's super embarrassed about how, we ended things a long time ago when we were kids.
I think Shinnok is definitely not bringing that up at all, almost aggressively, not aggressively avoiding the subject. But I think you get the sense that she's very she's not very convinced of this whole nevers and evers thing, this whole thing. And she's really into just, making connections.
Awesome. Well, if you can avoid problems, you're in here with the champ, because Lilu sure as heck is never going to bring up any of that either.
What do we get to eat for lunch, Chris?
Well,
That's the important question.
it differs depending on which school you're in. If you're in the School for Good, you'll probably have some well-packed sandwiches with the crusts cut off. I would imagine they're cut in triangle shapes with some healthy veggie snacks attached. If you're a never, I could see it being a sort of... hold on, I'm so sorry. I've now officially turned you all up all the way. So I'm going to go back to my audio.
I also did something with my microphone too.
You sound good on this.
I'm just
I
going to
reali- I
turn
realized
myself
Should we-
Very
down.
quiet.
Turn ourselves up.
If you can, a little bit. Mark's saying that it sounds like you're whispering compared to me, so I've turned myself down in the hopes
Okay.
that it won't be as bad. Um,
Good suggestions. We're all just gonna scream this now.
Yeah.
Let's get melodramatic early.
but yeah, please keep. I'm making changes. I'm fiddling, so please keep letting us know if it's bad or if there are tweaks. He's saying it's better. Great.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yay.
Good.
Yeah, for people, this is totally this is pretty normal for Twitch streams. I feel like, it's good to know early on if people can be heard because there have definitely been streams where,
Oh
and
no, we lost.
He was
And
just saying.
speaking of problems,
right. Speaking
He was
of
just saying that his
problems,
internet spiked. He'll be right back.
We're all out of shape for a minute, but hopefully Hopper will be there.
We're all doing the best that we can with the internet issues.
I have definitely done a stream where for the first 30 minutes we were muted.
oh no.
Yeah.
That's so much worse.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that seems bad.
So hopefully everyone's volumes are all good now. Let me just
I
turn you up
just
a little
started
bit.
forking with mine a little bit. The problem is, I don't think I've ever actually really done this. So is this better or worse? Better?
Well, you sound the same to me.
Oh,
That's
I do.
very
Thanks,
unhelpful.
y'all. I have to move. Everyone moved spots.
Yeah, I'm playing Shinnok now. That's how
Yeah,
this is going down.
Oh wait, who am I? I can't.
I believe we established this last time. The
Lilu.
rule is when we have a technical difficulty and all the portraits switch, we also have to actually switch which characters we're
Oh,
playing.
that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Di-
It's actually in the Monster Hearts rule book, I think.
Oh, who am I now?
You're me. You're Trip. David is still David. Or is still Milo.
Well, I'm aggressively myself. What can I say?
Okay. Hopefully everything's good. So we see Shinnok kind of bounding up to the group that Lilu is sitting in. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Shinnok, can you describe yourself?
Yeah. Shinnok is pretty tall. She's around 5'11". She's got thick, wavy red hair that's usually pulled back in some sort of elaborate ponytail. Today it's in a sort of army-style French braid all on her head. And she's in that black sort of cool, I think we said it was cool jumpsuit with all sorts of pockets and stuff. And, she's probably got pens and papers and probably a backpack. And she's wearing these heavy black combat boots. And she would probably stride up to Milo and Lilu. And you guys are I guess you'd be sitting down already.
Are you with other people?
I would probably be dragging Trip along with me. I've also decided that he will be my friend. I'm not sure how Shinnok is not sure how Trip feels about that. And I'm not sure if she cares. But she'd bound up and be like, "Hey Lilu, hey nerd," and kind of nod at Milo.
Hey.
How's it going? She's gonna sit down and start unpacking her lunch.
Lilu's gonna shift the mountain of books that she brought with her off, further to the side, so there's room for you and Trip to come sit down.
Are you guys sitting just in the grass somewhere? Are you near a thing?
Are there benches?
Are there benches?
My brain went to regular
No,
school
it's just
lunch.
a plain grassy clearing in the
Oh.
woods.
I'm imagining we have a picnic blanket. That feels appropriate to me.
Yeah.
I
Trip.
put us in my middle school lunch yard, so this is
So
much
did I.
better. This is much better.
So Trip will just doesn't say anything. Just sits down back off the picnic blanket and to the left of Shinnok.
This guy, he's great. I love him. Trip? Yeah. She's gonna stuff her sandwich in her mouth and pick up a book off of Lilu's stack and say, what are you reading this week?
Well, I had started some of the standard books on swordplay tactics, and then at the same time, I'm trying to read through this like guide on how to master chess, and then I was also reading this one fairy tale about a swan and mistaken identity, and then I'd also tried to start this other book, but it's I don't have enough time.
Yeah, that's a lot of books. But it all sounds really interesting.
Yeah?
Yeah, it does.
There-
Matt's actually really into it.
At this point, there's as you're talking about books on swordplay, there is a boy's voice kind of booming as they stride over. It's a Ever boy who we have yet to meet, although I think, I don't know if Shinnok and Trip have officially met him. His name is Farkas. He is tall and broad-shouldered, really, really beefy. Actually, I take it back. He's just broad-shouldered and beefy.
I was writing down beefy boy in my notes.
He's just
Still
not.
works.
He's not
Just
tall.
a big,
is
beautiful,
the
beefy
thing.
boy.
He's of average height, but definitely a little like beefy. With blonde hair and a little gap between his teeth. And he comes up like hand on his long sword at his hip, and he looks down. You still think you're going to learn swordplay from books?
No, I know that there has to be an equal amount of practical application along with reading about certain tactics. I mean, yeah, it's both.
Milo stands up and sort of interposes himself into the situation. Now see here, Farkas. I don't think you know who you're speaking to.
Oh, that's it. It's fine. It's
Oh,
fine.
the
Yeah,
little
we're all
boy in a
students here.
beret thinks he's going to
Princess
step to
Lilu
me.
could probably teach you a thing or two with a sword, I'd wager.
Don't think that's necessary. Obviously, he was just trying to get into a healthy debate
Well, Your
about.
Highness, you shouldn't sell yourself short.
Farkas, Lilu could kick your ash, and you know what?
I would hardly put
think
it so
that-
crudely, but I agree.
She's starting to hide behind her hair, her big, like for those of you that don't know, that big bushy hairs, and she's like hiding behind it again.
Oh, you want to make a bet on it? He looks to Shinnok.
Yeah, I do. She's like the best swordsman in the school.
Doubtful.
A matter of debate.
But I'd take that bet. In fact, let's make it even better.
Better. Bet.
I took a look at the competitors for the trial by tale was announced today, and he kind of looks down. Funny that the four of you all made it in. You working together?
class.
Do we know this? Is this the first we're hearing about this?
The list was posted earlier that day, so maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't.
This is the
Lilu
first.
didn't see it.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
Snapchat
I
with the
definitely
book in her
definitely
pants.
didn't see it.
Milo figured out, he knew exactly what time they were posting it because he definitely bothered a teacher about it until they gave him like an hour and a minute, and has certainly already seen it.
Okay, so you're the only one here who's not surprised when he says that.
I
We
think
got in.
the wheel around, be like, Trip! Hell yeah! We did it! Yeah!
Oh
Just-
no.
Trip just gives. No, I'm here. Trip gives just silently. Boop. High five.
Yeah!
And then a little bit of that at Farkas.
He's just like, oh, you shouldn't be.
Oh,
Oh
we
my
are.
god, you are, because I did it on
It
the wrong
was
one.
right.
There
It
we
was
go.
right.
There we go. it's
Musical
better
chairs. Musical chairs.
now.
I got you.
Sorry, everyone.
I had a delay and I wasn't sure.
No, I just literally didn't hit the transition button as I was making the changes. So as he says this, he's like, yeah, the four of you, did you all work together or something?
Hardly.
In fact,
Listen, it's simply a matter of random luck. I don't know what you're trying to insinuate.
He's just jealous because he's not good enough to get in on his own.
Did he get in?
I'm the top number 1 ranked ever.
Oh.
So I'll be joining the trial last. Hopefully, the rest of you won't be dead by the time I get in.
Well, if you're the top ranking ever, you really shouldn't be going around intimidating and bullying your fellow students.
I feel like that's a roll. I feel like that's a move.
Oh boy.
Let's double check. You're egging someone on? Or, hold on, I should have had my notes pulled up.
Let's pull out that character sheet.
Basic moves.
Yeah, I should probably have that up, but okay.
There it is.
I mean, I think Lilu is shutting someone down, personally.
Yes, that's what it is. So, you're shutting him down. Roll with cold.
I have a -1 in that, folks.
So, you're not very good at this, which is
No.
great.
The only thing I am good at is hot.
Ooh.
Not kidding, that's my stats. I have 1 volatile. Oh no! Mark experience, because
Snake
that
eyes?
was Snake
no.
Eyes.
Oh.
Ah.
So,
Oh boy!
I guess there's no active failure, but so he like takes a step forward, like this at this point looming over you, and he's like, "I didn't make you feel intimidated. I'm just standing here."
At this point, Trip's gonna interject, and just kind of pipes up from behind and just goes, I always heard small dogs yap the loudest.
I'll be coming for all of you during the trial, so just
Good.
watch out.
Actually, I have a move.
Oh.
I think that might apply to this.
Is that a promise?
It is. It is definitely a promise.
Ooh, yeah.
So, well, okay. I'll have a move in the future, but he's now made a promise to me. So,
Okay.
yes.
How does that work? Like when he says that, like he says, "I'll be coming for all of you in the trial," like, and then the camera like zooms on Shinnok.
So, like, what would that look like?
Like, yeah, like cinematically.
I think she would kind of like just, if she's not already walked up to him, she would at that point. And Shinnok is Fae, and she's very beautiful. But I think in that moment, like, it becomes a little bit more animalistic. And she smiles, and her teeth are very sharp, and it's very predatory. You know how, like, when a cat is about to pounce, their pupils go all wide, and you're like, "Oh, shirt." That's kind of like her pupils go all wide, and she says, "I'm looking forward to it."
At that point, he like steps away. I feel like several Ever and Never students have kind of like approached the circle as they're like watching this, but as he's like, whatever, and starts walking away, they all kind of back off a little from this strange circle of Ever and Never.
So he just placed a bet on like swordplay and then just never set a time for that and just pieced out.
Basically, it's a challenge in the trial now.
Oh.
Sounds a lot like
Yeah,
if you just
I think-
stab him, you win.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just limber up here and get ready.
Milo is going to turn to the other three and say, "Well, that was very uncouth if you ask me. I should think that Farkas as an Ever would know better than to come up and threaten other students."
He's a jerk! Sorry, he's a jerk.
He is. He is a huge
Your
jerk.
Highness, I agree.
But, thanks for standing up for me, everyone. You really didn't have to do that. He was only mad at me at first. Now you're all, in his line of fire.
I did put, a bet on you, so can't just, leave you stranded. Got money on you, right?
Oh, boy.
Nudging Lilu, ah.
I have a proposal. As we are all now, as Princess Lilu says, in the line of fire, I propose that we form a unit for this. If we stick together, we'll have a better chance of success in this trial. And certainly, it seems that some people have it out for us, specifically. What do you say? So I'm making a move.
Okay.
And the move that I'm making here is I am pulling strings.
Ooh.
Now, I have a string on Lilu, and I have a string on Sean. However, I don't have any strings on Trip. So I do have the ability to essentially compel Lilu and Shanak into this alliance, but I don't have any ability to compel Trip to do that. So,
stupid. I cut my strings and I am free.
Yeah,
You've got no strings
that's what
on me,
I've got,
stuck
right?
in my goddamn head.
Same, I was about to text that to you.
Now it's on all of your heads too. So
yeah. So I feel like I don't necessarily need to spend a string on Lilu, though I will do it if everybody thinks that's the proper move. Shanak, I think I want to spend that string.
Yeah. I think she'd be on the fence. Not so much about hitching her carriage, to Lilu's horse. That was a very weird analogy. I'm sorry. But
I don't know about this horse.
I had a lot of horses.
But she's looking Milo up and down. I don't know, kind of scrawny.
So I will point out, when you tempt another player's character, it counts as offering them an experience point if they do what you want.
Ooh.
So it might be in your best interest to pull the strings on both of them to give them the experience point.
Okay, cool. So
Hell
I'm pulling both strings. So
2 XP.
I'm erasing those strings, and now I have essentially offered you XP to do what I want, which is agree to an alliance for the trial.
I don't know what happens if you want to deny the string. I think you just say no, and you say no to the experience point.
No, I'm gonna take it.
Right. It's like if experience only comes from failing, you kind of want to take your experience where you can get it, not by failing.
I do kind of like that system. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
That is a good mechanical. Yeah.
Mhm.
Props.
Driving people to work together. How wolfy is Trip?
Not really wolfy. More like a little bit probably just always Trip's always got a little bit of a defensive posture and just kind of tends to be pretty quiet. Pads along is a good description, and his head always on a swivel. Kind of looks like he's been kicked a few too many times.
Oh, puppy. I think Shanak looks Milo up and down and says, "You got some smart ideas. Trip, you Yin, Wolf Boy."
Thank you, Miss Shinnok. I had a feeling you were the most sensible of the Nevers.
Thank you.
I think Trip's gonna scoot forward a little bit closer. You probably see him he just kind of makes a visible sniff gesture at this little soldier boy.
Yeah, Milo kind of draws back uncomfortably, but I'm still trying to remain sort of stiff and upright.
And then just dead eye stares, just full on at Milo.
That's how
And
he says hello.
Just goes, I'm in.
Pleased to hear it.
All right, party! Yeah! This is awesome! Nevers, Evers, working together, taking down the system from the inside out!
That what we were
Yeah.
supposed to be doing?
What?
I said, is that what we were supposed to be doing? I don't think that was in the assignment.
It's the secret assignment.
There's secret assignments? She, like, goes through her notebooks frantically.
Shinnok definitely, like, feels a little bad, and she's like, it's probably just a never thing. You know.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course it would be.
Tripp's
You're
Tripp's
good.
just smirking his ass off. Oh,
Ash. Tripp's smirking his ash off.
We lasted an hour.
We did pretty good. No F-bombs right out the
That's true.
gate like last
That's
week.
true.
I spent a lot of time.
There's a hierarchy.
I spent a not insignificant amount of time sitting here trying to think about how to say, and if you can figure out what I'm trying to say, you're a little pork biscuit. That's the best I could get.
Oh my God,
and it's not great, which is why I didn't say it. Anyway,
I think it's an amazing insult.
I mean, I don't have the slightest idea what you're talking about, but I feel insulted. And I don't think it was even directed at me.
I'm not sure what, but so I think there's a small hubbub across the field as we see a young Ever girl in a pink dress as befits the uniform, but she's made some adjustments that allow her legs to move more easily. It is our friend Elaine from Group 13. She has her very tightly curly dark hair, and she's pulled into two poofs. And a lovely dark brown skin tone, and she's kind of dancing in a circle of her friends like a ballerina, and they're clapping for her, and they're like, "Do it, Elaine! Do it!" And she laughs and she's like, "All right," and she sticks out one of her legs, and as the camera kind of zooms in, we see it looks almost two-dimensional, thin and papery, and she lifts it up almost like a flamingo and begins twirling it, and there's a soft, light pink-white glow coming off of her silk slippers as she starts to like kick and spin herself up into the air like a top, floating, like flying up a good 6 feet until she stops at the top and then comes down, landing on her other leg. And they clap, 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 and she's like, "Oh, thank you. I'm for sure that this will help protect me during the trial by tail."
Milo has been speaking to the group here, and I think happens to glance over to the side where all this is taking place, and does this. And is just standing there, like slack-jawed, transfixed, as she extends her paper leg up into the air.
Shinnok reaches
Milo,
over.
are you? Oh.
Sorry?
No, like she was just like following his like line of sight.
Shinnok reaches over and lifts Milo's jaw up. And then like-
Excuse me. I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
alliances,
Yeah,
taking down the system. Was that magic?
it was amazing.
It looked magical to me.
I can tell.
Uh, as of, I think 2 weeks ago now, you have all had your finger glows unlocked.
Ah,
So for about 2 weeks, you have been practicing magic of some sort. Some of you have your own spells and talents that kind of come out naturally through your emotions. But the schools of magic that have been taught to you so far fall under 3 schools: water, weather, and transmogrification. Simple, wild shapes.
could I do some magic?
If you want.
Yes, I would like to try to do a transmogrification.
Okay.
I think Shinnok looks over again and says, "That's nothing." Okay, watch this. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Good. This is gonna be great.
Oh yes. What's happening?
I'm gonna do some magic. You think that's good? Just wait till you see this. Do I just roll like 2d6?
You're gonna roll with purpose.
Purpose, right. So roll 2d6 and then add my purpose stat.
Yep. Which
Okay.
we've replaced in this edition. In this setting, we've replaced dark with purpose.
I have 1, so I add 1.
Mhm.
Okay. Hey, that's an 11.
Great. What do you turn into?
I turn into a giant black fox,
Ooh.
like oversized.
Do your clothes? Do you slip out of your clothes, or do they rip?
The age-old shifter question.
Right. The clothes don't shift with you. Period.
I
bet
Large
Shinnok
fox.
did not think that one through.
The trick's on you.
It's really early. Maybe you forgot.
She definitely was like, I could do better than that. And definitely forgot about it. I think the clothes, Shinnok's pretty tall.
But you got an
So-
11, so there's no bad effects that happen. They don't break.
I think they just kind of slide off. And it's black on black, and it looks really cool and elegant. Okay. And so she shifts, and the clothes slide off of her, and there is this giant black fox standing there with Shinnok's eyes. Hazel green, I think I said they were. And I think she's gonna be staring right at Lilu, and in fox form, she's gonna wink. I can't wink.
You can.
I think
talk
Liu-
also, by the way.
Lilu bends down and grabs the clothes and kind of points to them.
I think
You can speak in human tongue.
Oh, I can?
Mhm.
Oh, shirt.
Shirt indeed.
There's like a private clearing over like back between the buildings if you want to just like prance over there and then you can change.
Yeah, that's
It's very
probably-
impressive though.
Probably a good idea. Thank you. Are people looking at me? She's asking this. Are people looking at me?
Are people looking at
Oh,
her?
absolutely.
Oh yeah, they're looking at you.
If that's what you wanted, you total success. So how you want this to go is how it goes.
She just wants to look badass and call attention to herself.
People are definitely looking. So I think this is a great time to ask Shinnok, how did you get into the trial by tale?
Great question. I think it is. I think it's her magical abilities. Just because her other higher stat is hot, and I don't feel like going down that road. But I do think it was her magic, and I think she's got some skill with transmogrification, or do they say mogrification?
They do.
Yes, with mogrification. What would she have done? What are the classes?
Did you want to roll for it?
It would be it would probably be in curses and death traps, or it would be in special talents. So curses and death traps is with Dean Morgan Le Fay, and special talents is with Professor Ursula, the Sea Witch.
I think, God, I think it would be in curses and death traps, just because Trip is in there, and also, Shinnok really wants to impress Morgan Le Fay. Definitely a little bit of villain worship there. Hey.
Love it.
And I'm not sure what. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what curses and death traps looks like as a class.
It's in it's in one of the sub cellars. It's right above the jails and the doom room where never students go to be punished. And so it's quite cold and a little leaky. There's like water kind of dripping from surfaces. Morgan, the dean, typically stands in front of like a big blackboard that she like moves a chalk thing across magically to like diagram certain traps and incantations.
Interesting. Did you say something about rolling for it?
Yes, so we were gonna do a special roll for these little montage sequences to show how we get into the trial by tale. A 10 plus means you do excellent, you go to the top of your class, and you will be one of the last people to enter the trial. If it's 6 or lower, something goes wrong, you enter the trial, but they're at great consequence or risk to yourself. And you might be the first one to go in, for instance, which means you
fun.
have to hold out the longest until dawn. 7 to 9 is in between.
Okay, I'm gonna roll.
What stat are you rolling with?
Purpose.
Okay.
Purpose, yes. I think maybe it's like, Dean Le Fay is writing these incantations on the board, and she's, saying like, repeat after me. Except Shinnok, instead of, just kind of practicing the incantation, actually, kind of goes for it.
What color is your finger glow that lights up when you practice magic?
It is a yellowish green, kind of like the light that filters down through the leaves of trees to hit the forest floor.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay, all right, okay. It was a 10. Woo!
Perfect.
Woo! I'm getting all my good rolls out of the way so I can just completely screw up later.
So Dean Le Fay turns around and she's like, this is the incantation for changing into the form of an animal. And before anyone else can start speaking, you turn into that same fox.
I think she's a little surprised too. She's like, okay, this is not my body. This is okay. She's like kind of like a dog in a car, like what is happening?
Dean Le Fay just just stops with her finger out as she's holding. There's like a little piece of chalk just levitating above it, and she does this, and the chalk whizzes across the room, hits the wall, and falls. And she just takes like several cold, slow, healed steps towards you. She looks down. I've seen this form before. Interesting that you would have it.
Yeah, that's, actually, I actually have no idea what I look like.
And then she like waves her finger in a circle, and this sphere of ice appears. And the moment you look into your reflection, you see the face from your dreams.
I think Shinnok is actually taken aback by this.
Good work. And she waves her hand, and a big black 1 appears above your head in smoke, showing that you've placed first in today's lesson.
I think when she, turns back into herself, she's gonna be like smiling and very, very proud. Also like covering herself. But definitely, very. There's not, if this were a TV show, you would see as the camera, like the students turn away, the smile slides off her face. And she's thinking back to the face of that black fox in the mirror, the face of Reynard.
And we're back in the clearing. As Shinnok steps back out of the bushes, the tree line fully clothed. Who's next? Who's next?
Roll for it.
One of y'all ever punks better go.
Yeah, Ever step up.
Punk
All right,
biscuits.
I'll go.
Lilu, what class were you in when you made it, so to say?
So, would it be okay if I did my roll first and let that number kind of determine what it might be?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
What are we
What
rolling
am I rolling with?
with?
It's not gonna matter, but what am I rolling with?
I like purpose for this stat, but I do
Terrific.
think... Okay. I will also
Um,
say it can be any stat, just however you want it to be.
That would be a 3.
Okay.
So, wild card.
So, yes, you're not in the top 10 rankings of the Ever students. But Dean Merlin, for some reason or other, has decided that you need to be in the trial.
So here, based on that roll, now I think I can formulate what exactly happened here.
Okay.
Lilu does not like showing off in class. Lilu is incredibly quiet. Even if she necessarily knows the answer, she tends to really only speak up in small groups or with people that she somewhat trusts, as it were, or if she lets her anger get the better of her, like did with Farkas. I think that what she has been doing is making herself look worse for fear of being seen. And I think in swordplay classes, somebody has caught her on the training fields after dark, and it might be Phil, who is the actual professor, who has actually seen what she's capable of doing and may have passed that word on.
So, you did awful in swordplay. So awful that Phil sent you to guard the clearing at night. This is the detention level, essentially. And so you're in the clearing, and there's some Never student on the other side in front of their tunnel, guarding the entrance from the Endless Woods. You're not sure who it is. But as you're guarding, do you have a sword?
I imagine if I'm guarding something, I should have one, right?
You're guarding the school, but
Yeah.
you have your own personal blade.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So as you're standing out there, there's some. I feel like there's padded footsteps from behind you. And as you turn, you see Dean Merlin walking up.
Oh.
He's got his, typical blue pointy hat and blue robes that are coming down. Please, child, have no fear. I come merely to speak.
To me?
Yes, I don't think the Never student over there is interested to hear what I have to say.
Trip.
Probably.
We'll find out.
I'm just like, that's probably me.
And he, with his hand, conjures up a little stool, in front of you, and just sits down and crosses his legs. You'll have to mind these old bones.
Can I help you this evening, sir?
Lilu, it
Mm-hmm.
has. I'm surprised to see you here. You're normally a great student. You're one of the best in good deeds.
Thank you.
But why are you here?
Uh, they said that I needed to spend some nights guarding this school to better practice um, courage and remedial sword lessons.
Professor Phil spoke to me personally this evening. He says you're holding back.
Well, I don't know where he would have gotten that idea.
Keep in mind, he trained Hercules. He can tell when someone's holding back.
Look, I'm not. I like these classes. I don't mind taking the remedial classes. I don't like it when people are noticing anything that I'm doing, because then that's when I mess up.
You wouldn't be here if you hadn't been noticed. I selected you for this school because I believe you have what it takes to make a great fairy tale hero.
I think it would be a little bit imprudent of me to argue that with you, sir. But
I'm aware
not
of your condition,
you are.
and I don't think you should let it hold you back. Your father never did, although maybe he should have.
Sassy Merlin.
Although the best kind of Merlin.
Well, there's the kind that transforms into a squirrel and then gets aggressively hit on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's that kind of Merlin.
Oh god, if Trip is there, I want him so bad, like, just to have said something like that in person. Just, like, off in the background.
You just hear Trip go, "Ooh, squirrel."
I hesitate to force you into anything, but I think you should compete in the trial. Especially with the full moon approaching.
You can't be serious.
It will be a good training for you to control your abilities in a time of crisis.
I can barely control my everyday life. I I could try. It's
Please
very
do.
hard to say no to you, isn't it?
Well, I would like you to say yes. I would feel bad putting you in the trial against your better interests. I would like you to trust my instincts. As
I
the
think
King of
she has-
Camelot does now.
I think she has a moment where she's reflecting on all the stories that she's read and how badly she really wants to have these adventures and be a hero, but believe that all she's good for is maybe cataloging them off in some library and everyone would be safer that way and she wouldn't have to live with any disappointments, and then thinks again just a little bit harder and maybe with not the most extreme determination just nods her head like, okay.
Thank you, Lilu. I'll see you in class tomorrow.
Yes, sir. And she
And-
like clumsily salutes.
As he gets up to leave, the stool just disappears into smoke.
Oh, I love Lilu so much. God.
Sweet little baby.
So we got back to the clearing, and I feel like we just see Lilu like looking off into the endless woods at the tree line, biting her lip.
Yep.
Trip! Let's see if it was you on the other side of that clearing.
Let's find out.
It could have been any one of the other 118 Never students. We know it
Could've.
wasn't Shinnok, that's for sure.
That is fair. And I can use whatever condition I want, or whatever.
Whatever stat,
I mean, in the interest of being mechanically good, I think this is going to be a cold
Okay.
because Trip is good at basically just being staid and stolid and generally quiet. Woo. So that's a 9 + 2.
Nice.
Okay, so that's a total success. In fact, is that better than what Shinnok got? By
Yes,
one.
it's an 11. Damn it.
Ooh.
So Shinnok, you're in the second top of your class, and the dark horse, Trip, who no one expected, is at the top.
Love it.
So fun story. Still was me in detention.
Ah,
Love-
I look. I realize arguing with the fates is a bad idea, but when you tell me something that I know for a fact my uncle Romulus didn't do what they said he did, because that's not how that went down. Well, technically he did what they said they did, but that's not how it went down. That's the important bit.
so we go to history of villainy. It's in a tall tower. I think the Tower of Malice. I don't know. I'm just picking because I think everyone is living in the Tower of Mischief. The Tower of Vice has the library, so the Tower of Malice has some of the classes. This is a large lecture hall. All 120 students of the class take this class at the same time, and there are 3 women with like long gray hair and like dark hoods, and they're all standing at the front. And I think. We have a lot of. I was just thinking we have a lot of Greek mythology in our. We've got the Fates. We've got Medusa as a professor of uglification. Professor Phil on the other side of the lake, and the Fates. And so they're passing this little eyeball as they're teaching, and Trip stands up and starts shouting in class. I guess.
I think it probably starts a lot more like quiet kid being all like chill, and then they say something, and like Trips just kind of lean back. He's like, "That ain't how it happened," and then it just turns into a back and forth where Trips is like, "No, you're wrong. Like, just admit that you're wrong."
Oh, wrong. We
Like,
are
yeah.
never wrong, silly child. And just how would you know?
Because that's my uncle.
There's some murmurs from the rest of the school at this point. They're like, "Uncle."
There's probably audible bunny ears there. Like, that's my uncle.
Uncle.
Great uncle.
And so the sisters kind of fight over the eye as they all like peer through it to look at you, until as one they push their hands out and the eye like flies up like straight to your face and then just starts scanning your body. But you aren't a wolf, boy.
No, ma'am.
How would you belong to the big bad pack?
Just kind of tag along sometime, I guess.
Oh my god.
Several of the other students are like, "What the, huh?" But as you're arguing back and forth, they start questioning you. Things that only members of the Big Bad Wolf clan would know.
Trip hates every forking moment of this. Like, there is people paying attention to him. There's things going on. He's having to reveal information, and these people are still wrong. And they're like, the fact that they're wrong about this is just so frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just this war between that, like, no, but you're wrong, and then also wanting to just be like, please stop looking at me.
One sister is like, "Oh, sisters, I'm not sure this boy even belongs in the school." The one on the other side is like, "What, you think he should have been in Ever instead?" And the one in the center shakes her head. "Sisters, no. He belongs here. But he'll suffer for it." And at that point, a big black one appears above your head in smoke. Detention!
So they just did it to fork with you.
Yes, never speak up in class again. But the rest of the students are like, no, the school recognized him though.
Talk about
Do they
something
actually
great.
say? Do they actually say never speak up in class again?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Nailed him.
Can I say this? I feel like the fact that you're number 1 and Shinnok is number 2 is why Shinnok has absolutely decided she and Trip are now friends. I mean, I think there's definitely like a little bit of competitiveness there, and then also a little bit of like, this kid, I want to see this.
This is fair. I think Trip is definitely like every time Shinnok is just like putting like fit herself out there, like Trip's just like, but then you're like, we're doing the thing, and Trip's like, I guess.
Okay, so we're back in the clearing, and we see Trip just kind of smirking, I guess, with that like rebellious look.
Trip's definitely like Trip is definitely like leaning against a tree, just kind of over there, just kind of like watching this and just kind of laughing a little bit.
Milo, how did you get into the trial by tale?
Well, let's roll some dice and learn some things about that.
Mm-hmm. What are you rolling with?
Okay, so I mean, Milo is a by the book sort. He's doing his best to memorize all of the material and sort of say it back directly at teachers, even when it's not necessary in any fashion. So I think even though I have a -1 to it, it's gonna be cold. Because he's trying to be cool and collected and keep it together and kind of remain level-headed in order to get to the top.
Okay.
We'll see how well that works for him. Very poorly.
Uh-oh.
2
2.
total.
Evers! Yay, Evers wild card!
So I think, that was technically worse than Lilu's.
Yep.
But she's already our wild card, so we'll put you 10th in the ranking, right above her, and right after Elaine, actually. What class are we in where you barely eke your way into that 10th ranking? And what is, I guess there's got to be, I'll think of it as we.
I mean,
I'll
there's
think of the consequence.
here's my proposal.
Okay.
So the ranking is not, there's no magic, there's no formula here. There's no mathematical, right? It's the teachers can call this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the ranking it's by magic in a way. Like how well you do in your classes determines, and there is magic on the school that kind of sees the purity of your evil or good soul.
Yeah, because I think essentially Milo has been trying too hard, and it is very apparent that he is, and I think there is probably a professor who sees that. And, Milo's definitely, he's doing fine, but he's not, like, he's sort of not excelling in spite of all the effort that he's putting in.
Right. So, what's your best class? Is it beautification and grooming with Professor Helen of Troy? Another Greek legend. Is it etiquette and chivalry with Professor Maid Marian? I don't think it's swordplay and weapons training.
We've established it's not swordplay.
Right.
We know that for a fact.
Then we've got history of heroes and good deeds.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's either history of heroes or etiquette and chivalry.
Let's go there. I think he's a very etiqueteful.
Yeah, yeah. I see. I
Etiquette-ful.
like this because he really cares about etiquette
Yeah.
and chivalry deeply.
Wouldn't it just be
but he's
proper?
also kind
He's
of
very proper.
garbage at pulling it off because he just gets too in his head about it. He's thinking way too much about any particular instance, and it sort of starts to snowball and go over the top.
Okay, so we're with Professor Maid Marian of Sherwood Forest, not of Nottingham, which is the capital of Sherwood Forest, but whatever. Specific. Loxley. And she definitely is not someone who is like, she's not the most rigid of instructors when it comes to etiquette. She's dating Robin Hood. You can't really be that hardcore about it. So
She has an effortless grace,
yes,
unstudied but poised.
So I think she's totally going to notice this with you. And as class is ending, the lesson for the day was tea time. Professor Maid Marian. She has like dark tanned skin with long curly auburn hair, and she's wearing that little backwards veil, I guess. I'm not sure what it's called. And she's like, "Oh, Milo, please, can you stay a minute?"
Yes, Professor Marion, certainly I can do that. Yes, sir. What? Yes.
Please,
Yes,
this
ma'am?
is just casual, formal. No need for etiquette here, despite the classroom.
Permission to speak freely, ma'am. We are an etiquette class.
Permission granted? I wanted to ask how you're doing. You seem uptight. Here, have some candy. And she just reaches over to the gingerbread wall, and she's like, shh, and she just like snaps off a little bit with M&Ms on it and hands it to you. A little sweetness never hurt anyone.
Milo
Some of the classrooms
Milo-
are made out of candy.
takes it, says, "Thank you, ma'am," and pockets it immediately and very precisely.
Milo,
I shall save it for a more appropriate time.
if you like, I just wanted to check in and make sure that you were happy here at the school.
Happy.
Yes.
Is that relevant, ma'am?
Typically, one's mood is relevant in all fairy tales.
Well, I hardly see how. I'm, stiff upper lip and all that.
Mm-hmm. The best way to get killed in the Endless Woods.
I'm sorry?
Our magic that is unlocked through training here at the School for Evil and Good. It flows through emotion, Milo, and tamping that down will only make it harder for you to reach the energy you need to succeed.
Well, ma'am, if you may pardon my being so forward, based on what we've been learning in History of Heroes, it seems, not all heroes require magic, strictly speaking. I figure I can just sort of, muddle through without it.
That's true, and
It's what's required of me.
and that. Uh-oh.
Eh?
Okay.
So the motion thing seems rather unseemly.
I understand. Not everyone needs to do magic, and
I can't breathe.
I'm lagging a little bit. Is that just me?
Yes.
Lost you for half a second.
Yeah, just a
I
little
think
bit.
you're good now.
Yeah.
That's true, but as it stands, you might be on the leader track next year. And we like our leaders to be well rounded. We like our leaders to be in touch with their emotions and with the emotions of their compatriots, their allies. As a leader, you'll have a sidekick and potential Mogrifs on your team, and you may need to understand how they're feeling. Do you understand?
I'm trying my best, ma'am. But I suppose I'll have to engage with whatever's required of me. I'll try my best.
I hope you do. Sometimes etiquette and manners need to go out the window to say what you really mean.
I should make a note of that. And I think he literally takes out a notebook.
Oh. Bless.
Out window. Right.
sorry.
What was that, Maddie?
I thought you guys were finished. I had wanted to comment on something.
Okay, yep, and then we're back in the clearing.
And Milo is 100% thinking back on this conversation about being in touch with one's emotions as he, kind of glances at Shanak doing her thing, very like for half a second, and then his eyes return, of course, to Elaine across the field, and he sort of bites his lip, concentrates.
She does really well on that class as well, etiquette and chivalry. Probably go for it.
I just wanted to point out that it's very cool. I think I guess it was an accident, but it's very cool that after having that conversation, Milo was actually the one to propose that we team up. He was the one.
He was.
So I think that's very cool. He literally took a note, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The boy's trying his best, guys.
He's trying so hard.
And we all love it.
Everybody knows time is a construct.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we planned all that, so yeah.
So, I think that is a great spot for us to take our break. And when we come back in 10 minutes, we will begin the trial by tale.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone who's been hanging out with us. Great Zamino, of course. G. Michael Austin. Johnny, I think. Johnny Medina, I saw her earlier. As well as everyone else just going through. Blood Redrook. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Lightfax. P. Quattro. If you're here, say hello. We're very happy to have you. If not, then, well, we're happy to have you nonetheless. And we will be back in just a moment.
There's somebody.
Hello, and welcome back to our Monster Heart stream for the School for Evil and Good, based on Soman Chainani's books, The School for Good and Evil. See how that works? I'm Krifu, also known as Chris Bernal in real life. And real quick, I'll let our players reintroduce themselves, and then we will begin the trial by tale. Trip.
Hey, what's up? I'm Hopper. I'm playing Trip. I can be found pretty much everywhere at Fail Deadly, and that's with a 3 instead of an E, because, as always, the worst.
Right.
The worst. The worst.
I am Maddie. I play Shinnok, and you can find me around the web as Cellartator.
And I'm Marcy, and I'm playing Lilu. You can mostly find me around the internet as Experimental Madness.
And I'm David. I am playing Milo. If you want to find me, oh heck, I'll say a different one than I did earlier. Look me up on Instagram, david.brunelbrutman.
His art is real cool.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a week since we took our break.
Wow, time flies.
Time flies when you're at a fairy tale boarding school.
That's what they say. That's the exact phrase.
Yep.
Classes this week have all changed in an effort to help coach the competitors of the trial by tale. So a lot of the focuses are on previous trial by tales, how people won them, how they failed, how people used to die, the history of the trial by tale. Once upon a time, they just pushed them out into the endless woods with no safety net whatsoever, and there usually weren't winners back then. Now we have the Blue Forest, a safe zone of the endless woods. I put air quotes around that. That has been magically mogrified to be blue, and just to basically show you the boundaries of the forest, so you don't go wandering off into the endless woods and dying. Trip, in this past week, you put your nose to the ground, so to speak, and began snooping on a certain Ever named Farkas.
Farquaad, but yes. I refuse to acknowledge him by proper name ever in real life too. That's fork that guy.
So
Yes,
close.
one F-bomb. We're still
There it
PG-13.
That's
danger,
2 for 2.
danger close, ladies and gentlemen. Danger close. All right. Yeah. So I roll. What do I roll for this?
I am not sure. It's on the it's a Cerberus move.
Dig deeper. And in this case, it's when you gaze into the abyss.
Oh, so you're gonna roll with purpose.
I'm
You're
gonna-
using your
good.
magic.
I'm fine at that. I'm not horrible at that. When you gaze into the abyss by snooping around for dirt on someone, you add 1 to your roll. On a 10 and up, the owner of that character will tell you a secret, and you can choose to give them a condition to reflect what you've earned.
Wow.
So I have a -1 to purpose, but I get a +1, so it'll just be a straight roll.
Okay.
Snuffle, snuffle, snuffle. No, that's a 5.
5. So
The big dice have failed you.
How are you going about trying to find information on Farkas?
Banishment. I poorly apparently. I think I probably during one of the lunch times I I try to coolly sidle up to where's our Valkyrie name? Adora, and just be like, "What's up?" And it's not cool. It's more like somebody just like showed up behind you unexpectedly. It's less cool and more like, yikes.
And she kind of turns and she just elbows you in the gut.
Ow.
Back off.
So about sorry, ma'am.
Did Trip take harm?
Yes.
Oh no.
So let's start off with 1 harm.
What did we learn?
As we go into the trial?
Nothing. We learned nothing. Don't sneak up on Valkyries.
That's what I was looking for.
That's probably like honestly, that's just good life advice. I have no idea where my pencils are. I only have pens.
Hi,
Whatever.
Rin.
I know
Thanks
I have
for joining
one arm.
us.
I'll mark it on my banished dice.
Nice. So you'll be starting off with one harm. As we harm doesn't take you out of the game. Once you get 4 harm, 5 harm.
It is 4, or at least on my character sheet. It's
Yeah,
little
there are 4
triangles.
spots for harm, and once that fills up, your emotional state potentially boils over and lets loose your darkest self. So Trip is one step closer to that if something happens. So everyone comes out to the clearing on the night of the trial by tale. It's December, so it's actually pretty chilly here at the School for Evil and Good. I feel like most people are wearing some sort of fur-lined cloak. What are you all wearing as you're preparing for this challenge?
Do we have to wear our uniforms?
I feel like you're given a little leeway to, outfit yourself as best you like.
Okay.
I think Lilu has like a red coat, like almost like a pea coat, but it's got like a little bit of fur trimming, and like cuffs around the edge, and she's really enjoying not being in that pink tutu. My God, I feel for her in this regard so much.
Hey, 20-sided TV, thanks for joining us.
Yay!
So awesome having you here. I think we're all pretty big fans. Well, I mean, not just fans, some of us. So Alilu's finally out of the pink frock.
Yeah, Milo, I think, has it's very important for Milo to be in the proper dress, so he's definitely still got his school uniform on. Though the entire time he's had his school uniform on, he insists on maintaining parts of his Ingary Royal Army Cadet uniform. His little tin cadet's badge is always on. He's always wearing his cadet's cap. I think he has replaced it with like like one of those short fur hats.
Okay.
One of those 18th century or 19th century military fur hats.
A new Shanka.
That's all I'm thinking of.
There we go. And a blue woolen cape, one of those sort of like half capes that you sometimes see,
Nice.
and of course gloves.
Of course. And our nevers?
How much leeway do we have here?
Oh, nothing has filled me with so much dread so quickly.
They're sending you into the trial. They're not going to whine too hard.
Well, I meant more. How much leeway do we have with Era?
Pop culture fairy tales.
Pop culture fairy tales. Cool. So, Trip is definitely wearing, has gotten his grubby little paws on a cape that is like super, super, super dark red. So it's almost black unless you see it in the light. And it's just like, or more of a cloak, sorry, less of a cape, more of a cloak. And is probably just wearing like pretty super functional pants and like a light, flexible top. We don't get to take anything else in there with us, do we?
Evers are allowed to take Evers and Nevers are allowed to take school-approved weapons in with them.
Tell me, what constitutes a school-approved weapon, Chris?
A sword, dagger, mace, or bow, typically.
Trip's gonna take a bow.
Okay.
I think Shinnok is actually she's gotten another jumpsuit for this, but she's tailored it, of course.
Mm-hmm. Naturally.
naturally. But she's it actually when I say tailored, I mean more like she has she's taken a lot of different paints and she's painted over the black and broken it up so it's green and brown and yellow and dark brown. It's camo. She sort of made this camo jumpsuit, and she's got I think soft flexible leather gloves on, and her now by now very worn in, broken in black combat boots.
Classic.
And it's cold, right? It's winter.
Yeah, it's December.
Yeah, I think on the inside of her jumpsuit, she's either wearing like, thermals underneath, or she's lined it with fur line sounds really gross, but like some sort of like, cottony, cloth.
Like a thick
shearling.
cotton.
Yeah, thick. Yeah. And she's actually got a dagger. I imagine it looks like one of those. I was looking through the handbook for Evers and Nevers new students, and there's one. Like one never has like this black knife, and it's like all wavy. It's a small thing, and I think she's got that like tucked away in her waist pocket or whatever.
Your classic villain's dagger, a little wavy, jagged knife. I don't know where you can find a sheath for that kind of thing.
Custom make it.
I should specify, Trip is just wearing like basically a t-shirt or like the cloak. Very, does not
nice.
appear affected by the cold.
So the whole school is here. All the students in their cloaks. A few of the ones who didn't make it in, you can see on their faces. Some are jealous, some are a little angry, but I think some are just kind of relieved. Like, oh, phew! Like I don't have to. Oh, I don't want to, be on this one. But you all know that being entered into the trial by tale pretty much certifies that next year you'll be tracked as a leader in the top third of your class, and potentially the main character of your future fairy tale.
Terrifying.
So, at the head of the group, we have our two deans, Dean Morgan Le Fay and Dean Merlin, and they're gathering the school around. Students, Merlin, please, quiet down, everyone. And Morgan Le Fay just like claps her hands in the silent like wave of force. It just kind of like ripples out across the crowd. It doesn't magically silence them, but as it hits them, they all kind of turn like, huh? And are shushed, essentially.
Ooh, tingles.
And she nods to Merlin like, and he nods. Thank you for being here. I know that this is a trying trial. Yes, but it is of course great importance and tradition here at the school. The winner of the trial, and he looks over at Dean Le Fay, of course, will receive 10 ranks to earn their way to school captain. And of course, if you are a captain, you are much more likely to be tracked for leadership next year. The winning school, of course, also has the honor of hosting the winter ball in a few months. Traditionally, this ball has been known as the snowball, but in recent times, we've decided to open it up to both Ever and Never students, and hope that whichever school wins will think of their fellow classmates when they're planning their ball. And you can see like several Ever girls being like, No, you can hear them. We are not leaving the planning of this year's ball to those Never nobodies. So the four of you are in a group of about 20 students, 22 actually, all outfitted similarly. I think you know most of them, your fellow never classmates or your fellow ever classmates. But some of them you know better than the rest because they are also a part of your surviving fairy tales class. Um, uh, Adara, the Valkyrie, is there, as well as Elaine. She's the ballet dancer. On the Never side, we have Cassie, the gigantic woman, and we also have Fang, the Asian man with the big hawk on his arm, and he's got a long, like, black composite longbow on his back as well. And compared to everyone else, he's sleeveless, and his skin's like steaming a little bit in the cool as he's like looking around. Trip, you feel his eyes kind of lock on you.
Trip just kind of steps forward a little bit and just lets the cloak part a little bit so you can see that Trip's also wearing a t-shirt. It's actually fighting me, bro.
Whatever. Now, dear students, you will be competing tonight in the Blue Forest. And he turns, and there's this large golden portal, just this like stone metal circle that's kind of clear. And as he waves his hands over it, it starts to shimmer with force, just kind of like this neutral magical force. One by one, each group will step into the forest in, I think, 15 minutes, with 15 minutes apart. The first group are wild cards. He looks to you, Lilu, and he looks to your never compatriot, or your never counterpart. Who is this counterpart that Dean LaFay picked specifically?
Ooh, this is a fun one.
Is it from our known list, or are we coming up with a new character?
This is a new character.
Ooh. Oh.
Give it to us.
Alright, so it appears to be it's girl wearing a red beret and big old like terrifying steel-toed boots. Yeah.
Okay. What's her name?
Yep. Oh, it's got to be. I believe red caps are Scottish, so. Ooh.
Give it to us.
What's specifically Scottish and not Irish? Wow.
Take a big drink.
My
of grape
Gaelic.
juice.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
What's Obi-Wan's actor's name?
Ewan.
Ewan.
I like Ewan.
That's a man's name. But you know what? Whatever.
Ewan. So what? Hey,
So what?
you can call whatever you want.
Ewan, the red
She
cap.
She goes by Ewan.
Ewan. And like she's wearing that red beret, and she's got like this black leather jacket on, and she kind of like grabs the knife handle at her side and like looks at you, Lilu, and just like we're going in there first together.
Sorry, Chris.
It's okay. I'll try my best. I don't promise anything.
Hey, it's the same reason I'm not doing a French accent.
I promise I'll try and make it quick. No. Do you want to respond?
That was it. The nervous
Whimper.
laugh.
Students, please, there should be no real danger. The traps and creatures inside the Blue Forest tonight have all been placed there by professors here. And I think, Lilu, at that point, you kind of like look around and you see Professor Gaston.
Oh no.
And he's like looking not at you, but at a different Never. Who is this Never student that Gaston is looking at?
His
I have an idea, but
son.
Yeah, Gaston Jr.
Gaston Jr. What was your idea, Marcy?
well,
Sorry,
it was
Maddie.
another son idea, but we have possibly enough Robin Hood characters. We don't need another one, do we?
Don't do that to me.
Do you know what I'm gonna say?
Yeah. You're a bad person.
You don't know what I'm gonna say.
I think I know what you're gonna say. The son of
Gisborne.
Gisborne.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Guy of
The son of
Gisborne.
Guy of Gisborne?
Yeah, you did know what I was gonna say. Wild card.
I don't know.
He's a villain in the story as well.
Huh.
He's usually depicted as the sheriff of Nottingham's second or henchman.
Aha!
Yeah, I remember that.
The son of, thank you, Great Zumino, Guy of Gisborne. The son of Guy, we will call him,
Dude.
thank you.
Dude Gisborne.
He is,
That's the best thing that's
Perfect.
Milo, he's opposite
Chef's kiss.
you. He will be
Okay.
going in with you. Dude of Gisborne.
Is that not even his name? Do people just call him dude all the time? Because I love it.
I like dude.
It was a birth. Wow, certificate error, printing error.
So yeah, you see him, Lilo, you see him looking over at this Never student named Dude. A thin and weaselly and wily kind of looking young man boy. Young man boy. Young man boy. And he's also got a dagger on him. But his cloak looks a little bulky. So, students, of course, all of your weapons have been magically blunted so that there will be no real harm. Just a moment, Dean Merlin. And Morgan Le Fay looks out, and she waves her hands, and you can see several daggers and arrows on the Never side, magically enchant. And she's like, just reversing the enchantments my students reversed. She kind of looks at them all as they look at her like, oh shit, she could tell. Oh fuck. The mistress of magic.
So just out of curiosity, I'm assuming the rules say we can't actually murder people?
No.
Just checking. No particular reason.
They don't say that.
Now, murder is definitely strictly discouraged on both sides. Murder.
Frowned upon.
Well, wait, hold on. There's a difference between discouraged and forbidden. Those are two wildly different.
They are wildly different, but both schools teach that murder sullies the soul. Evil, you can still be pure, but murder is just base. True evil rises.
It's too
aspires.
easy.
Yeah.
You true evil aspires to put you over a shark pit, make you really sweat it out.
Mm-hmm. Or make you
Per
suffer.
Per my earlier gif, that's right, I'm saying it that way, fight me. Just because you are a bad guy does not mean you are a bad guy.
Exactly. Also, you each have a red silk handkerchief that, as soon as you throw it to the ground, it will teleport you out of the arena, safely delivering you back here to the portal. And he kind of waves at it. Still, whichever student is left when the sun rises will win, or will split the championship with whoever else is left. Now, I think we are ready. And he looks over to Consus, the centaur, as well as several other teachers for surviving fairy tales, and they nod. Yep, Maddie.
I just was wondering who the last ever is. I have Adara, Elaine, Lilu, Milo, Farkas, and then
there is one more that will be walking in opposite you. So as you're looking, and you definitely spotted their names, his name. He's second ranked, and he's actually, Milo and Lilu would know he is really close with Farkas. They're pretty tight. Farkas is definitely broad-shouldered and beefy, but Chanticleer is Not so much. He's taller, a little more triangle shaped. He's got a big chest, lots of pecs, and he has this like golden poof, like sandy blonde hair that comes up very much like Elvisy at the front, and just a tanned white skin. He's got a farmer's tan. And he's dressed very fancy. Him and Farkas both are in their most regal military garb with fancy rapiers at their side, and they're chatting animatedly.
Shinnok just doesn't like the cut of this guy's jib. Just doesn't like it. Not at all. Not at all.
Does anyone else have the songs from the Don Bluth movie in their head right now, or is that just me?
I don't think it's just you. I think Great Zamino's in it too. Rockadoodle.
Yeah, literally.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm gonna mute all y'all.
Are we lined up?
Yes.
Would it be possible before we go in to do a move?
Yes. You, however, will have well, let's say that I don't think the time is it 15 minutes because you're going in last. So each group or second to last. So each group goes in with time in between. I had it written down, but so you're going to be like waiting a good hour before you even enter in, essentially.
Gotcha.
At sundown, the Ever and Never with the lowest pretrial rankings will enter. Every 15 minutes, the next lowest pair will enter until the highest ranked Ever and Never enter the competition last. So more than an hour, you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 2 hours, like waiting before you even enter in. Meanwhile, Milo and Lilu will have to try and survive until then. And as the fact that the four of you all have entered in some sort of pact, they'll have to try and survive until you enter the competition. Interesting. But Lilu and Ewan are the first students to walk up to the portal. And as the sun fully sets beneath the horizon, the portal glows gold along the edges, and this shimmering force activates, and there's this hum. And Merlin and Morgan both bow and beckon.
I think Lilu would actually turn to Ewan, and from behind the mess of her hair, she is so trying to shrink down as much as possible. Just goes well, good luck.
You'll need it. And the two of you enter in. In a flash, you're in darkness, but in mere moments, your eyes adjust. The light phosphorescent blue of the forest really emanating here in the darkness. And as you kind of get your bearings, you realize that you are in the turquoise thicket. The southeastern part of the Blue Forest. You have, in the past month and 5 weeks, you've all done tours of the Blue Forest, so you're fairly familiar with these areas at this point. Ewan is right next to you, and she instantly lunges, dagger drawn, to stab at you.
I dodge out of the way instantly.
Instantly?
What kind of roll is that?
So she's going to roll... She's going to lash out volatile.
Okay.
Or... Just a sec.
Can I be obnoxious about PBTA stuff?
Please. You are the expert here.
NPCs don't roll. Only
Right, I
players
was just
roll.
thinking that.
Oh.
So she has to...
I think, to me at least, this sounds like
Run away.
Lilu is running away.
Yep. Yep. Okay, thank you. David is a PBTA designer, so we're very lucky to have his skills here.
That is so
I'll
cool.
try. I'll try not to be too obnoxious about it.
I
So-
would love your obnoxiousness.
Running away
Yes.
is.
You'll be
Sorry, I have my
rolling-
character sheet up here too, and not the just like basics.
So you're going to roll with volatile. On a
perfect.
10, you get away to a safe place. On a 7 to 9, you get away, but you choose one of the three issues. You either run into something worse, you cause a big scene, or you leave something behind. So yeah, she goes to stab at you. You try and run away.
About time I rolled well. That's gonna be a 10.
Okay.
Hey.
So what do you do?
I think it looks more like a dodge, and she's just like, "Hey, there's already enough traps in here."
I might as well take out the first competition, and she makes to move again.
And that's when I think like it turns from a dodge into a scatter.
Hey, get back here! How do you lose her in the turquoise thicket?
It seems surprising, but nobody's really there to witness it. But Lilu seems fairly at home in a forest. And with all of the agility and speed of somebody who has spent most of their youth playing around in fields and forests, she darts away. So we're in a field. There's probably not a lot of trees around here, unless I'm heading towards the pine glens.
If is that where you're headed to?
Sure.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, as
the-
you're moving through the thicket, you can see the tall pine trees of the pine glens.
and I want to shimmy up the tree
Okay, great.
until I can be sure that the red cap is no longer following me.
So you shimmy up a blue fir. Yes. And moments later, Ewan like runs underneath the tree, like looking around with her dagger out. Damn it! And she runs off.
And I think the name of the game is I want to try to keep hidden until I can find the other members of my little coalition. But I want to try to leave some semblance of a sign that's not going to be obvious to anybody else that might try to hunt for me.
Okay. I'll let you think about that if you want for a minute
Sure.
while we
Yeah,
cut
absolutely.
to Milo. You and the dude are lined up 15 minutes later.
I mean, now that you said that, I'm just imagining
Yep,
Jeff Bridges,
a very young Jeff Bridges.
just a young Jeff
A
Bridges.
16-year-old Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, 16-year-old Jeff Bridges.
Someone in the
Sure.
chat, link us a 16-year-old Jeff Bridges picture, please.
I'm sure there's a photo.
Mhm.
I'm sure he looks like an upstanding youth and not like a younger version of the dude.
So as 15 minutes pass, you two are beckoned through the portal. And when you step through, you find yourself in a field of tulips, all kind of glowing with that soft phosphorescent blue light that seems to be emanating. The skies above you are, oh my gosh. Okay.
Come through!
Oh, cute. Co-captain. Very nice, Johnny. Thank you. Oh, you both sent the same picture. Awesome.
I mean, clearly that's the picture to send.
They did-
The one where he's in his letter jacket.
Right.
Is that
So
supposed
Did their
Dude.
research.
that's our dude.
It's not just young Jeff Bridges.
And as the two of you land in the tulip garden, the almost full moon high above, kind of illuminating. It's like there's just a sliver of black on the top left side of the moon. You hear dude immediately just take off running towards the south, just straight south. Headed along one of the paths. So as you're looking at the map, you see the light blue paths.
Yep.
They kind of look like streams. They're pathways. The dark blue brook, that's the only water that's here. So he runs south down the path towards the blue brook without giving you a second notice.
Yeah. So I get up, I straighten out my my school uniform and little cape, and look around. Well, that was straightforward so far. All right, Milo, buck up, do your best. And my goal is to start looking for Lilu.
Okay.
That's what I am about.
I think.
So,
How are you
what
doing
can I possibly do to start tracking her? Am I aware that when we enter, we end up in completely different areas?
Mm-hmm, it's random.
Okay, so that's like a known thing that we'll end up in completely different parts.
We probably should have planned. Whoops.
Yeah.
You probably did.
I mean,
I'd like to retcon now,
can
knowing
we
that
can we
know
declare
that.
a flashback?
Yeah.
Can we bring some Blades in the Dark technology into
I
this?
was definitely
Heyo.
thinking we need a little
Great.
flashbacking.
Because there's no scenario in which Milo would not have, once we had agreed to an alliance, set a rendezvous point.
Okay, where's our rendezvous point?
I mean, we did we have a map in advance? Do we
Yeah,
know the areas?
you know the region of the Blue Forest very well at this point.
Yeah, great. Then right in the center, pumpkin patch on the edge of the Blue Brook, right in
Okay.
the middle.
The pumpkin patch.
So the retcon that I will do is as soon as Lilu knows that it's safe, she will try to make her way towards that area rather than leave a signal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are there trees south of the pumpkin patch?
Yes.
Is that
There's
okay?
a
So
little
there's like
glade.
these are clusters of space surrounded by woods.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, just making sure I'm reading this map right.
And there are trees almost everywhere. Yeah.
Good.
Because that's the endless woods. If it isn't woods, it's a desert or an ocean. But the world just kind of keeps unraveling the further you go. They haven't found an end to it yet. That's right.
Yeah. So I place my hand, what I think is confidently, on the hilt of my sword, and I start marching off down the path in the direction of the pumpkin patch.
Okay.
So by the time you're doing that, it's moonlight.
Yeah, the moon is out now.
May I have a moment for flavor, as one of my moves is Howl at the Moon. When I bask in moonlight, I can act as if I had Dark 3, but for our purposes here, it will be Purpose 3. So I think that kind of looks like, because that heightened magic, there's a faint purple aura emanating around Lilu. Just because there's, like, her finger glow is purple already, but because there's so much more of it now that she's out in the moonlight, it just starts to form a very subtle little halo. It almost looks like one of those things that you see, like, through a lot of water if there's sunlight.
Cool.
Nice. We cut to outside where our nevers are waiting their turn. Shinnok, you wanted to pull a little trickery or do something.
I can wait till we get she'll wait till like they get into the forest, I think.
Okay, cool. So you're still waiting your turn. Let's cut back, unless Trip, you want to do something outside while you're waiting?
I'm just Trip's just gonna size up the competition, especially Lord Farquaad's little buddy over here.
Chanticleer?
What does Chanticleer look like again?
He's taller than Farkas, and he's got like a dirty blonde, like Elvis poof. But he's very much like whereas Farkas is just like a rectangle all the way down. Chanticleer is very much like a upside down triangle, just kind of like narrowing down to his hips and like almost like chicken legs.
I'm basically
Given leg day.
I cannot stop picturing like a really ripped, adoring fan from Oblivion. I just can't stop picturing it.
Actually, I changed my mind. I would like to do my move out here.
Okay.
I would like to if possible, do the roll to turn somebody on. And my move associated with that is oh gosh, oh, I have it right here. The Wild Hunt. When you draw upon your most feral manner, echoing the lithe movements of a cat or the veracity of a wolf, add 1 to your roll to turn someone on.
Okay. All right, so what, you just walk up to Chanticleer and Farkas?
I imagine almost though I was imagining that we're waiting like next to each other in line
Okay.
almost. And it's night by now, right?
Definitely.
So I think some of that Fey magic kind of cloaks Shinnok a little bit, and she's got pretty fair skin, and it, is a little dewy in the moonlight, and her eyes almost seem a little starry, and she parts her lips and looks over at Chanticleer and says, "So are you excited, to go in that dark forest?"
Can you make your roll for me, please?
Yes.
I'm like, oh, how do I respond to this?
Good question.
So we're rolling to turn someone on.
Okay, so add 1 to your roll to turn someone on, and I also have 2 in hot, so I add that too, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
+3, it's pretty good.
Okay, so that's a 7 total.
Okay, on a 7 to 9, they can either give you a string or choose a reaction. So I can choose this. I can either give myself to you, I can promise something I think you want, or I get embarrassed and act awkward. I'm going to give you a string on him.
Oh, I get a string on him.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
very good, very
so
good.
You'll be able to tempt him to do what you want later.
Yes.
And he just kind of puffs out his chest, and you see his Adam's apple stick out a little bit as he's like swallowing really, really proudly. Excited.
Shinnok watches it bob up and down like a cat about to eat it.
Excited. You couldn't contain my emotion. He kind of looks down, looks you up and down, even if you tried.
Couldn't contain? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. I think she, I was gonna say waggle. She lifts her eyebrows and she says, "You'd be surprised what sort of nasty little tricks they teach us over in the Never's Castle. Can't remember the name.
Yeah, I think it's just Never Castle.
Never Castle.
That is it exactly. And over in the Never's Castle.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure you're full of nasty little tricks. And he's grinning at this point. Farkas is looking at him like, dude. And he goes, no, that's the other guy who went in.
Oh no!
Hey, Waffles
Chanticleer,
Maple
you're
Syrup,
so
thanks
funny.
for raiding us. We super appreciate the raid. We're playing Monster Hearts, set in the world of the School for Good and Evil books. Our stream is called The School for Evil and Good. And we're doing a little heavy flirting right now. Shinnok and her ever rival, Chanticleer.
I think when he says that, she laughs and says, "Oh, I didn't know Evers could be so funny."
Oh, we certainly do try. And Farkas is elbowing him she's your competition. What are you doing? And he's like, please, no, I've got this.
I think Shinnok winks at Farkas.
And he's just don't think I've forgotten about our bet. As soon as we get in there, I'm going to find your little furry friend and take care of her.
As I said before, I'm counting on it.
Trip, what are you doing? You're right there.
Oh, Trip's just dead-eyeing Farkas. Just dead-eyeing. Just kind of just standing, relaxed, but just full stare down.
And he's just
Even when he turns, even if he's turning away, just staring at the back of his head.
Stop it. He grabs Chanticleer and pulls him away from the two of you. But Shinnok, you now have a string on Chanticleer. Let's cut back inside because we still have a whole like our Evers need to wait a good over 2 hours. And even then, you know, nights are long. December, this is like we're literally a week away from the solstice. So this is one of the longest nights of the year, and you have to survive till dawn. Who gets to the pumpkin patch first?
Question.
I think we're about equidistant, actually,
We are.
based on where we said we were.
You may arrive at
And
this.
I started off immediately when I got in, and Lilu waited, but Lilu also got in earlier.
Mm-hmm.
She had
So
to. You know,
I think we show up at the same time unless there's some reason not to.
I think that sounds about right.
Oh god, that's so romantic.
So you're both walking along the Blue Brook, along its northern edge. Milo coming from the west. Milo,
Milu.
Milu, and
No!
Lilo.
Sorry. No. Oh no, it's happening.
We'll have to find a good name for your good couple name.
We're not a couple!
So the two of you see
Don't get ahead of yourself, buddy.
shadowy silhouettes approaching you on this side of the river.
Do we see each other yet?
Quickly, you see the silhouette steps into like the light of the moon, and you realize it's each other.
Oh, Your Highness.
It's Lilu. Lilu. Hi, Milo.
Yes, Princess Lilu. How are you? Good to see you.
Yes, and you too. Hey, your partner didn't just try to kill you, did they? Because mine did.
Oh dear. I hope you tried to kill him right back.
Oh, I just opted to lose her so I could get here on time.
Well, fair enough. No, the lad who I was with, well, he took right off running. I haven't seen head nor hide of him since.
Okay, I guess that's good. Better?
Yes,
It's hard to
fine
say.
as far as I'm concerned. If we're to get through this, we should stick together and not be, well, distracted by other less scrupulous students.
Yeah. And we just have to last until dawn. Nobody has to get hurt.
Right. So, as far as I'm concerned, we post up here. We can rotate watches, work out some sort of system, and simply wait in place. That seems to be the best plan of action.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I can maybe do this, and I think we're gonna see a little bit about what Lilu's magic can do. And I think since we already have one mogrification and I come prepackaged with that, I'm going to pick plants.
Okay.
For Lilu's, considering her love of being outdoors about as much as she loves reading. So I think if we're in the pumpkin patch, I'm gonna do a little bippity boppity boo.
Nice.
With these pumpkins, and I think her whole aura is like glowing already with that faint purple light. So she just sort of like claps her hands together, and like a little like purple like dust sort of like comes off of them, and she goes, "Okay, I've never done it like this before." And she puts her hands on the ground, and I want to try to get some pumpkin guards. I want to make the pumpkins kind of
Oh my goodness.
on top with the vines, making little scarecrows out of pumpkins to help us with the perimeter of the pumpkin patch.
Okay.
This can't go horribly wrong.
Well, it's magic, so you could roll, and it could go horribly. Oh, you were being
yes.
sarcastic.
I was being incredibly sarcastic.
Let's see it roll with purpose as your
A good +3 now.
yeah, as your purple finger glow starts to light up.
Oh, it's very good. It's a 12.
A 12. Okay, describe how your spell goes off excellently.
I think with feeling a little like that little burst of confidence with the moonlight coming down on her, but she's not angry. She's feeling in control just a little bit. She like outran one pursuer, and she's here with her friend, and she just sort of like lets that kind of emotion of like, maybe I can kind of do this. and she just takes a breath, and as she exhales, like all that purple aura sort of shines a little bit brighter. I think as the moon is coming out even fuller, maybe behind some clouds, and all of that energy races down through the pumpkin patch, and out sprout pumpkin guards.
Yeah, so these orange pumpkins and their vines and tendrils all like kind of come out of the earth. And I think 4 different pumpkins all like kind of like stand up on 4 legs or 4 vines essentially, and like move over towards you hesitantly, like they start to like mill around your legs. The four of them. They're like
I've
knee
never
high.
worked like that before. I've also never done that before.
A good show, Your Highness. I say.
Thank you. And I look at all of them and like, okay, if you could all please pick different sides of the patch, and I'm gonna need you to make a lot of noise if you see somebody coming.
They kind of look up at you, and then as one, they all turn to the north, towards the other side of the pumpkin patch, where you can see actual scarecrows standing there, and they just like turn, as if they're like dogs, like pointing in that direction. I think the two of you, if you look, you see the scarecrows and nothing else, and then a moment later, it looks like one of the scarecrows starts to shift.
Oh my god.
Jeepers creepers.
Literally, the first thing I said when I saw this map was, "Wow, Pumpkin Patch is the sketchiest place on this."
Oh no.
Yeah,
Um,
you did literally say those exact words.
It was my only comment. The only thing I said.
I think Lilu sees them, all of her little new creations turning to look, and she just goes, "Oh, traps. Milo, hey, don't panic, but I think something's wrong with the scarecrows."
Yes, or something is right with them, depending on your point of view. All right. Well, come on. Form up.
All right, and since no one else is around, she's easier about it, and she pulls out her sword.
Okay. So the several scarecrows come rumbling up, like moving quicker than you would
Okay.
expect them to.
Ugh.
What do the two of you? Your pumpkin guards immediately like jump in front and are distracting some of them, who are like, the scarecrows don't really know what to do with these pumpkins. But two scarecrows get past them and are coming towards the two of you.
Okay, just like training dummies, they're full of straw, it's totally fine. I want to swing at one of them and try to like get the legs out.
Okay, roll with volatile to
Ooh.
lash out physically.
With the moon?
Yeah,
Ow.
with the moon.
All right.
But that doesn't add to your.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
I'm just curious.
Blah.
Ooh. Oh boy. And volatile, 11.
11.
Ooh.
So yeah, you deal them harm, and they choke up momentarily before they can react. So yeah, just what do you do with the scarecrow?
I'm aiming for the legs because I'm not quite sure how they work, but I do know if they can't like amble around, it might be better for us.
So you just get the legs, and there's really no resistance. You
Oh
cut.
no, Milo, I'm sorry.
You cut right through its legs, and it just stands there for a moment and looks down, and then like falls forward on its face, cut off at the knees. It's filled with straw. I mean, what do you expect? But Milo, the other scarecrow, is right up on you. What do you do?
Yeah, so I've drawn my saber and sort of taken up a combat stance, waiting for this thing to approach. And I don't think Milo, despite being more militaristic than Lilu, is just straight up not as smart, and is going to, as if the scarecrow starts to close in, sort of go for center mass with a sword thrust straight through the straw.
Okay.
It's not. Listen.
I love
We'll
it.
see how the roll
I love
goes.
it.
but it's not the greatest immediate plan.
All right, roll it.
So I am also lashing out physically here.
Hey, Kemo22, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. I see a lot of other familiar names, and I will try and call you out if I can. I did see Panda Chew. Hi, thanks for being here.
What a great name.
As well as anyone else. Hey, everyone. Okay, sorry, trying to do the thing. What did we get, Milo?
We're sitting on a 12 over here as it happens.
Yes.
Tag team effort.
So you go right through the heart. How does that dispatch the scarecrow?
I think okay. So Milo is definitely used to the idea of stabbing a training dummy. However, we have also established he's not particularly adept with this sword.
Mm-hmm.
So I think okay. So a scarecrow is there's parts sewn together, right? So Milo stabs it to the center of the straw. It doesn't seem to do anything. He has this momentary, oh dear, and then starts to wrench the sword back. The hilt of it comes up and sort of like starts to tear open the bag of it. And when he pulls the sword back, he tears it in such a fashion that the whole like burlap sack of it just spills open, and he's covered in straw.
Nice.
as this thing collapses.
Awesome. So you dispatched your scarecrows, and the pumpkins are kind of like dealing with the other scarecrows. Who one of the scarecrows like picks up a pumpkin and just kind of hurls it, and it smashes on the ground.
No!
Right. And the other scarecrows manage to like kind of like kick the other pumpkins away, who they fall and just roll and stop moving.
My little Ghibli pumpkin.
Right. And then the scarecrows keep moving towards you, and you can see the other ones, the ones that you just dispatched, still animated, trying to get up. The one without the legs is crawling over to the other one and like taking straw and like stuffing it back inside.
Yeah, I call over to Lulu. Your Highness, how are you doing over there?
I'm fine. I think that we should make a tactical retreat.
Yes, I'd say that sounds wise. Full retreat!
It's just us.
But is it?
You know it's. And I think we're already running as we're like having this.
Yeah.
But you know it's important to do it properly.
Okay.
So as you're running away, we see a young Jeff Bridges pull up from underneath a bridge at the Blue Brook, and he sees you all running off, and as he pulls himself up, we see on his back is a musket.
Shorts.
Okay, so now we go to. It has been. Where do you run off to? Where are you going?
Where are we going?
Are we going closer towards? Yeah, are we going closer towards the fern, or back towards where you came?
Fernfield or Sleeping Willows or off towards the Cyan Caves?
My gut impulse says caves, like up the brook, up like the riverbank.
I think
in
Lulu
the
would be
direction of the caves.
following Milo.
So yeah, okay. So you run.
Oh, well,
off.
I think Milo would be following Lulu. So
This is a perfect storm of errors. Then.
You go first. No, you go first.
So each of us is definitely following the other one.
Great, and we end up in the caves.
Okay. In the caves. I think as soon as you kind of run into there, you see another figure kind of huddling in the corner. At first, it looks like a mushroom, but as you get closer, you can see the shadow shimmer, and you realize that it's an illusion. And there's a girl kind of kneeled there in the corner, and Milo, you instantly recognize Elaine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was so worried. It was other Nevers. It was Nevers, I thought. Oh.
Oh, Miss Elaine. How are you?
Terrified. I should just go, right? And you can see that she's in her hand. She's holding the red handkerchief. Like, I've
No,
just.
no. You
Oh well,
should stay with us.
no. And I think Milo like actually reaches out and like grabs the handkerchief, like puts his hand on the handkerchief.
Oh,
No. Don't don't go.
I'm just so scared. I didn't think it would be like this. And, well, the Never I came in with, she tried to kill me right away.
Same here. But we're not doing that. We're just gonna try to last the night, you know?
That's what I was hoping to do, but I'm worried this cave and, like, there's just a kind of like a of wind as she, like, looks back towards the darkness of the interior.
Oh, I wish I wasn't playing a character with what essentially is low wisdom and high intellect, but Lilu is just gonna like kneel down, like kind of next to her and be like, "No, it'll be fine. Like you just stick with us. We've got other friends that are gonna come,
Oh,
and
Yes,
together
we
we can all
developed.
be okay."
with Farkas?
No, not Farkas.
Oh, what other friends do you have then?
Friends. It's probably best if you just wait until they all get here, and then it's better to explain.
Oh, okay. And she just kind of like leans against Milo. Like,
Milo goes just completely rigid.
okay. And from there, Shinnok, you and Chanticleer are ready to enter the Blue Forest. Pumping
Getting
yourself
ready.
up. He's doing
Yeah.
the same thing, and he's like looking over, like, all right, yeah, cool.
Yeah, getting all jazzed up.
So as Merlin and Morgan beckon you through the portal, you step through, and again, you're in that same sort of phosphorescent blue glow, surrounded by weeping willows. This area is known as the Sleeping Willows. With these trees have very long tendrils that almost like they come down to your heads. They're so old and so long. As soon as you step in, Chanticleer is moving backwards from you, hand on his sword.
I think she definitely does not make any sudden movements. She just laughs and says, "Chanticleer, really, really? Come on. What are you planning to do with that?"
I'm planning to defend myself. You're full of those tricks, right?
Yes, I certainly am, but I'm not planning on using them right now.
You don't strike me as someone who has any plans.
That's not exactly true. But you know what I'm really interested in are your plans. What exactly is your goal here?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Please. She is gonna step a couple. She's gonna come a little bit closer, and she says, "You can trust me." I mean, no, you can't. That's definitely not true. But I mean, come on. We're the second in our class? I mean, we're the future leaders, right? We've got to. I don't know. I'm not convinced of this whole ever and never thing. I feel like, and she's going to step a little bit closer, and she's going to reach out a hand, and she's going to try to touch his very triangular chest
Mm-hmm.
and say, "I think we could really make something beautiful together if we wanted to."
Damn!
Are you pulling the string?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So yeah, tempt them to do what you want. Give them a condition.
Yes.
I think we're tempting him to. You're trying to figure out what his plan is.
Yes. Mhm.
Well, so I mean, I was gonna try and lure out the other Evers. Farkas has had his eyes on Lilu for a while. I thought we talked about me luring her out, thinking things would be safe, and then he could come in and duel her.
Why does he want to duel her?
He's convinced she's been holding back in class.
I don't know about that.
And, I've got this beautiful voice. She'll trust me the minute she hears it.
Definitely. She definitely will.
Just like you did, right?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Cool.
Well...
Cool.
Cool. Well, I can tell you a little bit about my plans too, I guess.
So you do have plans.
I like to keep my secrets close to my chest.
Mm-hmm.
My plans... she definitely doesn't have any plans at all. She is pulling this out of her butt. So, my plans were to... we, the Nevers, actually, all of the Nevers came up with one plan. We're all going to meet up at... Ooh, okay. So I think she wants to try and, like, lead him off somewhere. It would be interesting if she said, like... I think it would be interesting if she said the Cyan Caves, not knowing that Milo and Lulu went there.
Yep. Absolutely.
So she says, we're all planning on meeting up at the Cyan Caves, and we've actually stored some weapons there.
Oh, you dirty Nevers.
I know. I'm so bad.
Killing me.
Well,
And
that's good to know. And he kind of tips his hair to you.
I'll see you later.
Because it's like almost bouncy.
Oh God. I think she's going to like more. You know how Morgan Le Fay does the like walk?
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna like wink at him and try to like turn around and like walk into the shadows like the willows, but do the Morgan Le Fay walk.
Totally.
I feel like I should roll for that.
Yeah, are you trying to turn someone on?
Again?
'Cause,
Again.
Why not? Is that allowed?
Go for it.
Pretty sure you have to do it more than once.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
hopefully the first time works.
So that is math. 8 plus 3, 11.
Okay. So I'm going to choose... I'm not going to give you string this time, because... but I am going to choose... I get embarrassed and act awkward. And I think that's going to trail
I think you
over.
might gain a string on them by default on a 10+.
Oh my god, you're totally right. And, thank you. So on a 10+, you gain a string on him, and he chooses a reaction from below. So you gain a string, plus he's going to act awkward. So Chanticleer is awkward, which he's not used to. He's actually awkward.
Oh,
Damn it.
God. And as soon as she's out of sight, she's going to start running towards Pumpkin Patch.
Okay, very, very, very cool. 15 minutes later, Trip and Farkas are entering in. At this point, 2 Ever students, number 8 and number 7, have left the competition. The traps got to them too hard, and I think number 9 of the Never as well. Over the last 2 hours, the traps got to them, and they pulled their red handkerchiefs and they got out.
Do we remember who those are?
I don't have names for them, so we don't. And they're nameless and not important. At least not to the scene. They might come up later. So Trip and Farkas, you are at the top, and all the schools are waiting and watching, and especially the students that left, they're kind of looking, and like you can hear them all shouting, "You got this, Trip! Show that ever butt face!" Trying not to swear. Come on, Farkas! Yeah, Farkas, we love you!
I need to know what fairy tale he's from.
What's the Disney version of this?
Too late, you've already done that.
And so Merlin and Morgan both beckon you through, and as you step through the portal, you end up in the, let's put you in the blueberry fields. It's a field of wildflowers, and that's rimmed by blueberry bushes. And as soon as
misleadingly named,
as soon as you get in, Farkas draws his sword and goes to swing at you.
Oh, that's good, because I was just gonna pop him right in the back of the head the first chance I got.
Lash out physically.
All right. Do well, my pretties, or you're going into the melting pot.
That's right, Kima. NPC number 20 and NPC number 21.
I was particularly fond of Galorbus and Flounce.
Well, that is 6 + 1.
7.
Not a fail.
It is not a fail. So, on a 7 to 9, you harm him, but you must choose one. They learn something about your true nature and gain a string on you. Ooh. The MC decides how bad the harm turns out. So, what, I can, like, limit the harm? Or...
I think the idea is, like, if you punch somebody, it's 1 harm. If you're weaponing somebody, I think it's 2+.
So you could make somebody hurt someone way more than they intended, or
less.
Or you could make
less.
it, or you could be like, that bullet just grazed you, 1 harm, instead of like 5.
Okay. Or you become your darkest self. But you choose this one.
I choose.
So either they gain a string on you, he learns something about you, you pitch it to me, and I get to decide what the outcome is, or you become your darkest self.
All right.
We know what Maddie wants.
I don't think we're quite at darkest self yet. No, that's we need to be kicked a few more times before that goes down.
Remember, you're entering in with 1 harm already when Adara elbowed you in the gut.
Yep.
Crack rib.
I'm gonna say they learned something about true nature.
Okay, so he like pulls his long sword, and before he even like is able to draw it out completely, there's a fist coming straight at his
Oh no, I'm
face.
shooting him in the face.
Oh, you've got the bow.
The bow. This is the bow. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Okay.
this is bow.
And
Like,
so
I was just gonna shoot him right in the back of the head first chance.
this, as he's pulling it and turning around, this blunted arrow hits the back of his head, and he falls forward and quickly turns longsword out and in front of him as he holds it up, and you're standing above him, and you're like shaded by the light essentially, and so all he sees is darkness and these yellow eyes and these 2 like wolf ears above, and he just sees this image, and then the kind of image fades a little bit. So I'm giving Farkas a string on Trip.
Ooh.
I'm definitely staying out of sword's reach, and Trip's just gonna grab another arrow and just kind of reaches over, starts pulling knocks it, draws, and just goes, "Better run, boy."
And he like scoots back, jumps up, and takes off east towards the fern fields.
Can I take another shot at him?
Might as well.
And where did
You
it
better.
land?
They landed in the blueberry fields, so not far from you.
I'm
Excuse me.
you probably can't see it very well, but I'm decorating the the map of the Blue Forest. So
Oh,
I'll
awesome.
upload it later.
Nice.
Sweet. We'll need it because we'll definitely be ending halfway through this trial.
Ooh.
So 6 again, plus 1, 7.
Okay, so you do another thing of harm to him. That's 2 harm to Farkas. Not looking good, Farkas. And then pick
Yeah,
one.
you could. Oh, so well, so with the yeah, I mean, you can decide how that turns out. That's up
Okay.
to you.
Okay. I'll definitely the second harm. I think will hit because remember all our weapons are blunted, so they're only going to be doing like 1 harm each time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's no. Actually, as he's moving towards the fern field, I think you hit, but he's able to just kind of like bat it away with his arm, his shoulder, and he avoids the harm.
Cool. Totally gonna pick up the
Does that
arrows
work?
that I mean,
I always
glancing blow.
I
Glancing blow.
always have trouble with PBTA games sometimes. I'm used to that D20 roll to attack, roll for
Yeah.
damage, boom, boom, boom. Doesn't have
Stop.
damage resistance.
I mean, that's the funky thing. Like when you look at like in D20 power games, like you're looking at like HP is super vague. Like
It's weird. It doesn't make sense.
yeah, so this like it sucked. That probably hurt, but it's not enough to be a harm.
Yeah, and then he's out and he's into the 6 feet high fern field.
All right. So I'm gonna snag that one arrow that I shot first, and then double back for a little bit, and then go in an opposite direction, and then head towards the pumpkin patch.
Okay. You're making your way to the pumpkin patch. Shinnok, you're about to leave the Sleeping Willows area.
Mm-hmm.
You're alone. When something touches your shoulder, and as you turn, go for it.
Oh, I immediately like take out my dagger and I'm like, what? Like at whatever's touching my I
Yeah.
don't even look.
You look and you see on your shoulder is this little tendril from the weeping willows that surround you. And as you turn, the tendril reaches out and tries to grab both of your arms and your shoulders. Very similar to how the Stimpf, that big skeletal flying creature, grabbed you last week. And so this tree is now trying to grab you and wrap you up in its vines. What do you do?
God. How wrapped up am I?
Not wrapped up yet.
Okay.
You have a chance to get out here.
Yeah, so oh no.
Maybe we're running away, lashing out
Yeah.
physically.
I mean, I think I would be
Keep your cool.
yes. I don't have a cold. Oh, yes I do. Yes I do.
So when you keep your cool and act despite fear, name what you're afraid of and roll with colds.
Okay. I am afraid of being trapped. Being wrapped up and squeezed until I can't breathe or move, and I'm just suffocated there. I think that is a very visceral fear.
Totally.
Of course.
So roll with cold.
She is -1, so we'll see. That's a 3.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay. So immediately, that fear of being wrapped up and squeezed takes over you, and I think you freeze. And the vines wrap themselves around your waist, granting you 1 harm as they start squeezing. What do you do?
Would that be like claustrophobia? Yes, it would be. So 1 harm. I think at first she's gonna struggle harder. So I'm not sure what that would be.
Try lashing out. Lash out
Cool.
physically. Roll with volatile.
Also -1.
Oh
Yay.
no! The one of the top ranked Never students taken out by a tree.
So that's a 7.
Okay, so you harm them, but choose one. They learn something about your true nature. Nah. You can decide. You can talk to. You can throw it to me. But I think the best option here would be to become your darkest self.
Oh no! I mean, yes, but oh no!
I feel like you are able to cut yourself free, but that fear and that kind of you've been tapping into your instincts, your
Yes.
feral instincts a lot.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's going to unleash your darkest self.
Yeah, I think she cuts herself free, and she's standing there, shaking and like breathing very heavily, and kind of trying to keep it together. And her eyes are huge and black and dark.
Can you read your darkest self description?
Yes. Everything you say seems a promise. Everything you hear seems a promise. If a promise is broken, justice must be wrought in trickery or blood. You aren't subject to the human rules of mercy. To escape your darkest self, you must in some way rebalance the scales of justice.
Wow.
Intense.
Yeah.
So honestly, what I think that looks like is she's like the heavy breathing. She stops, so she's breathing in, and then she breathes in and stands straight up, very calmly tucks the knife into her belt, and she walks off in the, I think, probably still in the direction of the pumpkin patch.
Oh
But
no.
she's whistling. I'm trying to think of what tune it would be. She's whistling a very very old tune. One that Shanak probably doesn't really know, but it's just kind of floating through her head, this music.
Oh my god.
And she's not all there.
Ooh, boy.
Terrifying.
As you're walking towards the pumpkin patch,
Oh god.
Trip, you're headed in that direction as well. And you two weren't far off, so I think as soon as you cross over to the as soon as you cross across the blue brook, you see a familiar form in the darkness and the shadows, walking steadfastly and calmly, whistling. And that clump, clump, clump of those black combat boots.
All right. I think Trip's assuming that this is Trip don't know about her. Is gonna sidle on up, still being sneaky and stealthy and quiet, just because it's just how he does. But just gets like 10 feet away and just goes, "You good?"
You see the silhouette of Shanak cock her head, and she says, "Yes."
Good. Let's go.
And we see the two silhouettes make their way towards the pumpkin patch and the scarecrows in the distance. And that is where we'll end our session
Oh my
for
God.
the night.
Yay!
Oh boy!
Oh, our Evers.
Get it now, boys.
Yeah! Our Evers and Nevers are in the thick of the trial by Tale, and you'll have to tune in next week to see how this all plays out. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. G. Michael Austin, Johnny Medina, thank you for being here from the beginning of the session. It's so awesome getting to game with people online, especially during this trying time. Interesting times, I guess, is a way we can put it. I'm gonna go through the list real quick and say hi to everyone. Blood Red Rook, Chum Pachum, good to have you. Don't recognize the name, but it's nice to see it. G. Michael, Johnny, lovely to have y'all. Carrick and Kimma, Kimma, it's always great seeing you. Lightfax, Mac Mouse, Panda Chew, everyone, thank you so much. Waffle Maple Syrup, thank you for the raid. We super enjoyed it. It was great seeing you. Yeah, everyone, we'll be back next week, of course, for episode 3 of the School for Evil and Good. But that's not all that's happening here at ManaPot. Friday, we have the premiere of our new ManaPot Happy Hour, a fun, casual stream where we get together and bring and drink our drinks, alcoholic or non. Just to try to pass the time. You can check our other games down below. If you scroll down, there's a link for the calendar where you can see our weekly schedule, monthly schedule. And don't forget to join the Discord if you want to continue the conversation or potentially join any future streams that we might have. Especially during the Corona times, we're thinking about ways to just get some streams going, etc., what have you, Yahoo, blah, blah, blah.
And I gotta rep it, but if you want more stuff with Hopper and I, then tune in on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern for some Invisible Sun action for our stream, The Hole in the World.
Run by our very own Captain Great Zamino, who's going to chat with us.
It is insane.
Totally.
I mean, you think magic is a little wild in this game?
Bonkers.
I would try to give examples, but it's literally just listing the things that have happened to us.
Any final thoughts?
Oh, be good to each other. Stay at home if you can. Yeah.
Don't touch your face.
Don't touch your face.
Yeah, we're not very good examples of that. I've been
We're
doing that a
terrible.
lot.
Yeah, be good to each other though, like for real. Like just this is stressful for everybody and people's nerves are on edge, just take care of each other. And there's a lot of people that need a lot of help right now, so be kind.
Thanks for that, Hopper. Stick around for the raid. We'll be finding someone to raid after this. So yeah, thanks again, everyone, and have a great night.
Hey, goodbye.
Bye.